guys, welcome back to Super Unimportant Reviews. My name's Steve, and today we'll be going over the NECA Pacific Rim 19-inch Knifehead.
But Steve, that's a bumblebee.
Yeah, because currently my Knifehead still hasn't even shipped yet. Still have freaking pre-order on the website, and everybody else has a Knifehead. But you think Steve would get his Knifehead? No, I just got the stupid shelf over Bumblebee. Nobody even likes Bumblebee.
But Steve, everybody likes Bumblebee.
Nobody even likes you.
Ah, dick.
Hey guys, welcome back to Super Unimportant Reviews. My name's Steve.
My name is Arnez.
And today we'll be going over the NECA Pacific Rim 19-inch Kaiju Knifehead, even though the box says nearly 20. But I actually was lucky enough, I found this at a FYE in my city that I live in. And so the internet could suck it, so they wouldn't ship it to me when I wanted it. But that's another story for another day. But I'm happy that I actually have the figure now, because I've been really looking forward to this guy for a long time now. Because I really wanted something to go with my 18-inch Gipsy Danger that I got a while back. And hopefully this guy doesn't disappoint, but some of the other reviews that I've seen posted, he actually looks really sweet, and so I'm actually really happy to get him out of this packaging. So, for the packaging, if I can get Arnez to actually rotate the boxes for me. So, for the front of the packaging, it just shows the figure that you get in the packaging with the concept image on the front there, and it shows the Pacific Rim. On the side, there's more pictures of the actual action figure with the little insignia at the bottom. And then for the back of the packaging, it shows Gipsy Danger knocking him out. Looks like he's about to break his jaw. He has over 25 points of articulation. And then on the bottom here, which I will zoom in, it just shows all the other figures in the line that they've previously released it. And actually, it shows the one of the new figures, Schooner, that's going to be coming out soon. And for the other side of the packaging, it just shows that he's a Category 3 Kaiju, and it shows his little emblem right there, which is sweet. And for the top, just shows Pacific Rim. Nothing too fancy there. And the bottom's just all the Lego mumbo jumbo. And that's pretty much it, other than he has light up eyes and mouth, which is awesome. So, let's just get this guy open out of his cardboard prison. So first we're going to go over Knifehead's stand, which is pretty much just your basic stand. Nothing too fancy going on with here. And one thing I really wish they would have done with this is maybe spice it up a little bit more with the way like the SH Monster Arts does the display stands and stuff, where they could have had like the Pacific Rim logo here and it said Knifehead. I would actually really like that, or maybe add like a water effect, since that's the scene that he's from is from the ocean. So it would have been cool if they maybe added like a little bit of like clear plastic to this or something, or even just be clear in general, because the black's a little bit ugly for me. But overall, it's not really necessary for him, because as you see right here, he's kind of standing by himself anyways. So it's a nice accessory, and I'll show you guys how to get it in, which what you want to do is down here, which, yep, I get the joke. He has this hole right here where his butthole would be. And what you want to do is you want to take the stand and insert it, which I don't know if I should be censoring this portion of the video, but you want to make sure that it gets in there really good. Oh man, the words coming out of my mouth right now. And I'll back away just to show you guys how it sits with the stand on. So once you get the stand positioned, he actually stands really nice with it, and for how front heavy of a figure this is, it actually holds them up pretty well. So it's overall, it works good for me, even though it's not fully necessary, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. But it's nice that they gave it to us nonetheless. Alright, so we're going to go a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm actually going to hold the camera while I'm doing this because of how massive of a figure this is and how heavy it is. I figured it'd just be a little bit easier just to move my arms around, move the camera around, than actually trying to position this in front of it. So I apologize for the shaky camera in advance, but first, starting over with its head sculpt, which turned out fantastic. Like overall, with the amount of detailing on here, I'm really surprised at how much they got to show on this guy. Really love the dark black paint that's going on along through him, and the way they got the blue accenting all the little details in here. Like especially you can see it here on his chest with all the scaling here and on his arms. Like overall, it turned out really great. And then I also really love the way his mouth turned out with the paint here, which it's a little bit odd because it's more of a flesh tone kind of paint that they went with, which I guess works. And then with Arnez creaking in the background. And then I really love the double set of teeth here. It really turned out sweet. And one other weird thing is that they didn't go with the sticking out tongue like they did with the other knife heads. And it's actually on the roof of his mouth, which is a little bit out of a choice with the way they've been going, but it really doesn't bother me because I wasn't a big fan of that to begin with, so it works. And then the detailing in his mouth, which is really cool. It kind of gives it this fleshy of a look. And then underneath his nose, it actually has, if I can show the lighting a bit, it's got more of a flesh tone kind of paint there, which is really sweet and helps differentiate with the rest of his body. And then just to show off the other side of the head for you guys. Which, one only little problem I have, but it's just something on mine that I figured I'll show you guys just because it might show up with some other ones, is he's got this little white blotch here, which is a little bit of an eyesore, but it's not something really major, especially how big of a figure it is. It's not something I noticed really right off the bat. And then for the rest of his body, like the way these stripes turned out is really nice and gives him this vibrant look that's very contrary to the rest of his dark paint job going on here. And then with his little arms here, which I also really like the gloss black going on here on the nails, which one thing I want to point out, which on these ones it's not so bad, but coming over to his massive skeletal arms here, is that the claws here are actually really sharp. So if you have like a little kid playing with this or something, I would be very wary about this, just because I could see somebody getting hurt on these. So just as a heads up, this is probably something, as you can imagine, especially at the price being at about $150, is he's definitely meant for a more adult collector. And then just showing off the rest of his body here. And the same with his feet, with the gloss black nails going on there. And I just really love the striping that's going on here. Like, it just turned out really nice, and it's really surprisingly vibrant on this guy. And then with the back, with his shell back here, which one thing I thought was kind of weird is they went back to the more like gloss kind of look to it, like they did with the first production of Knifehead, which the second one was something more, it was like black and they had a bunch of the cracks, which I'll show in comparison in a little bit. But overall, I think this is actually really a cool look for him because the way how gritty his skin looks here and stuff, and then this is a very smooth color, which texture with more of the gloss black here and everything. It's a nice differentiation between his normal body and the shell back here. And then there's his tail here, which, as you can notice, is not a bendy tail, which is awesome, and I love it. So, overall, the detailing of this guy, I think it turned out really, really awesome. And one thing that I really do love is that NECA seems to always step up their game with every production that they put out here put out on these figures, on the detailing of them. Because the original Knifehead wasn't that bad, but the scaling was a little off. The second one was really awesome in comparison, and this one just, especially with the way how vibrant he looks and just overall the massiveness of him, is just, again, just really awesome improvement over that one as well. And then another one thing I didn't really point out is I really like the little eyes up here, which I think is cool. And he's also got, at the top of his head, he's got what I would say would be like the air hole spouts like you would see on like a whale or a dolphin. And I just think it's a really nice touch that they have these things up here. So again, overall, I think this guy just turned out phenomenally in terms of just the overall look and the amount of detail putting into him. And then showing off his light up gimmick that he has, which lift him up a bit so you just get a little bit of light under there. There's a switch underneath his jaw, which what you want to do is you switch it forward, then bam! Which I was very surprised at how bright of a light that is without actually turning off any of my lights in this room at the moment. It shows off very nicely. And it's only in his big main eyes and inside of his mouth, but it's actually really awesome look, which I will turn off I'll turn off the lights in a second just so you guys can see better. Alright, I have to turn off the lights. You guys can see like these LEDs are super bright. And he just has a very menacing kind of almost demonic look to him. And I just love also how like the light shines off on the top of it, or underneath his knife head, so to speak. And it's just a really nice look, and it's a very accurate looking representation of what it did in the film. Alright, so starting with his articulation, we'll go with his head, which it can rotate pretty much all the way around. And it moves a little bit up and down. And one other thing I want to point out is with his mouth, it doesn't actually have any articulation there. And I've already seen some people on like my Facebook and stuff have already broken the jaw because they're yanking on a little too hard. And just don't mess with it. It's just not supposed to happen. And then going for his shoulders, they move up and down. And they can also rotate around. They actually got a fairly decent range of motion. And then for his elbows, it also can rotate around and move in and out. It's not super great on the elbow portion, but it's pretty much about this. It's a slightly better than what we got with the 7-inch version. So if you have that figure, overall his articulation isn't so much better than that one. And then with his hand, it's on a ball joint, but it can rotate around. And also, each of the fingers are fully posable, which is actually a really awesome touch to that. Farnaz wants to move the fingers real quick. Thank you. And then for his little alien hands, up where they connect to the body, they can move up and down. And they also have a rotation. Except that it's really hard to get the rotation for those. And then over by the elbow, it can move back and forth. And then his hands are on a ball joint, but they only really rotate around. They don't really do too much else. He doesn't have any articulation at the waist, even though it kind of looks like he does. But you just kind of bend a little bit there. And then for his legs, up towards the thigh, it can move, it can rotate, and it also moves in and out. For his knee, it only really has a rotation there, but it can move all the way around. And then his feet are on a ball joint, so they get a little bit of a pivot. And then Farnaz wants to assume the position. Okay, and then for his tail, it has a little bit of a bend there, and oh no. At least the nice thing is it actually pops back in really easy. But if you pop it out a little bit, it has a rotation. But if you have it all the way and it's pretty well fixed, it will go a bit. And a little bit higher on the tail, it can move up and down, and it can also rotate around. And then at the tip, it only pretty much wiggles unless you really want to pop it out of the joint. But again, when you randomly dislocate something from him, it's really easy to get it back in. So that's pretty much it for the articulation. Actually, I'm pretty impressed with for how big this figure is. It's still a little bit of an improvement over the 7-inch version. While not like super awesome, it's still an improvement nonetheless. And overall, I'm actually really happy with the way this guy turned out. And for a quick comparison, here's Knifehead compared next to the Jakks Pacific Godzilla, which actually is a really awesome scale for me. And for another comparison, here's Knifehead compared next to the Gipsy Danger of the same size, which this is epic. And here they are with their lights on, which is, oh man. And for our last comparison, here's the giant 19-inch Knifehead compared next to his little brethren.
I like how the scale just goes a little bigger, and then bam, blows up.
Yeah, see, that thing's just stupid huge in comparison to everybody else, which it works for me in terms of value too, because him being around $150, and then he was closer to around $30, I do believe, and then he was around $15. So you see where your money's going here. And while I got all the little guys out, just wanted to show you, because again, I thought it was really weird because of how smooth his back is. And you see the original one also has the smoothness going on here, except for his little tusk claw things are white coming out of the side. And then bringing in the bigger Battle Damage version, he had a more rough texture going on with his, and had the black one, the black tusk on the side. So I think it's kind of cool that they iterated both of those going on with his shell, while these guys were very different in between each other. So overall, Knifehead, I'm actually very impressed with the way he turned out. Like his overall and his detailing, it's phenomenal. The paint application on here is great. I love the gimmick and how bright that is, and how it just really reminiscent of what it is from the movie. And his articulation is still pretty good for especially how big of a figure he is. It's a little bit of improvement over the 7-inch version, which going into it, I figured it was going to be about the same anyway, so I'm actually very impressed with that. Especially with them getting rid of the rubber tail, like, I'm really happy about that as well. And overall, I just really feel like I got my money's worth out of this figure.
To be honest with you, it's a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. So much more details, more everything. Better.
Just a great improvement over the little figures. And especially with him standing next to the Gipsy, I'm just really glad that I got somebody to help accent him on the shelf. So what do you guys think? Are you guys excited about the Knifehead? Are you guys excited that they're making a Pacific Rim 2? Or you guys just don't think this guy's worth about 150 bucks? Please let us know in the comments. We'll have close-up pictures of him on Facebook if you want to click the link in the description below. And if you like this video and want to see more stuff like this, please give us a like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.
Bye-bye.
Alright, Gipsy Avenger, I think you're in the need of a makeover. With the help of us two, we can make you faster, stronger, and a little less generic looking.
Do you think this is really necessary?
Well, based on your US box office, I think you need all the help you can get. Alright, so we're just gonna need you to lie down for a second. And just to let you know, this might hurt a little. Well, that looks a little horrifying. Hey, GMK. Yeah? Need a hand? No, I think two's plenty. You're no fun. And finished. How you feeling? Well, you know what? I gotta say I'm doing pretty... Wait, what the hell happened to my voice? Don't worry about it. Also, don't worry about where the other inch of you went either. Cause I sure as hell didn't.
Hey, just look super report reviews. My name is Steve, and today I'll be going over the Bandai high-grade Gipsy Avenger DX set metallic version, which was a Geek Jack exclusive. Which, how I was able to obtain this figure was through D Japan, which I would like to thank D Japan for making this video possible. But if you guys have never heard of D Japan, they are a proxy service from Japan that will obtain goods that you generally can't get because they don't ship stateside, and buy that for you and ship it to you. So they act as an intermediary when you want to buy off sites such as Amazon Japan, Rakuten, Yahoo Shopping, and Yahoo Auctions Japan, which are actually just straight up shown on their site. So you don't actually have to go to different sites in order to find the figure that you want. You can do it all through D Japan's website. And they also take requests too from many other sites with a page URL provided. But essentially you pay them and then they pay for the figures on your behalf. Which all you do is you go on the site, you search their site, you pick the item that you want. Like if you want this one in particular, there'll be a link in the description. You can follow that to get to the correct page, or just follow along the video. But anyways, you'd go here, you'd select it, you would do your first payment when buying the figure, which all that's required for the first payment is just paying for the item plus any extra costs you choose at checkout, which is mainly for consolidation and inspection fees, depending if you want that. Which the consolidation plan is free as of right now, but that may change in the future, and they currently don't also charge for service fees or commissions. Second payment is for domestic delivery in Japan, which if it was free for them to get, it's also free for you. International delivery, consolidations, and any paid packaging, packing options chosen. And then that's pretty much it. Super simple to do, easy to follow. You can also find charts on their website if you want to know closer to what your shipping charge is going to be for the item. But they are also an official PB intermediary. They can also just get general goods on the website as well, which is pretty cool. If you aren't looking for figures and models in particular, there's other stuff there as well. Delivery for this guy was super fast. Actually arrived faster than my other two packages I have coming from just a standard international site. Air small packet, mind you. This guy was shipped DMS. But getting to their warehouse and then to my house was faster than them just shipping it to my house. So that was really impressive. And also their customer service is fantastic as well. Super friendly, fast. And I just can't recommend them to you enough. So if you guys are looking for this or anything in particular that's hard to get exclusive, I've seen some of the Ultraman Geed figures up there that are Bandai exclusive, so definitely go check them out. But anyways, if you guys haven't seen the movie yet, go check it out. Really awesome film. Was looking to get into one of these model kits, because what I really like is that they actually come with an LED and a base, so you don't have to worry about these things tipping over. And detail-wise, they look kind of really nice. Might have to apply a little bit of paint because it is a model kit, but for the most part, the mold looks fantastic. And then this is the metallic version, so this one will look even sweeter than just the normal plain one. Because if you have the plain one, it's going to kind of look like the Robot Spirit, so I kind of like that I'm going to have something that's a little bit different. So this is probably the one I would go with. But we'll definitely know more towards the end of the video. But anyways, without further ado, for the packaging, kind of bland on the front because it's just grays and blacks. But the picture looks pretty. Outside of that, you got the high grade on the side. It has the high-grade Gipsy Avenger DX set metallic version. Legendary copyrights. Tells you it's got a stand. Bandai. On this side, just shows some more Gipsy Avenger. Opposite side, pretty much exactly the same. This side just shows you all the parts, how you assemble it. how he's gonna look from front and rear. Bunch of stuff I can't understand, so I'm nigga mumbo jumbo. Oh man, I'm gonna need some LR41s for this. Hopefully I got some laying around. And nothing on the bottom. Oh hey, there's more on this side though as well. Shows you just pretty much all that he can do from inside of the packaging. So let's open up out of its cardboard prison. So now that we have it opened up out of its cardboard prison, there's a crap ton of parts here. So I'm going to assemble this, and then we'll come back to the fully assembled figure. Oh, poopy, there's also little stickers. This is going to take a while. But if you guys are interested in seeing this a little bit more as the process goes along, I will be doing a Stevie's Toy Room of the figures trying to assemble this. So you won't see the entirety of it, but you'll get at least a good time with me trying to assemble this thing. So, yeah, I'll be right back after we get this fully put together. Alright, so just to give you guys a quick glimpse of Gipsy Avenger once he is fully assembled. This is before pre-panel lining or any kind of paint decals. So this would be him just straight up once you get everything assembled. Now, I'm going to be coming back and showing you more of the minute details after I do some panel lining and possibly adding some weathering. Probably not. I'll probably just do panel lining and call it a day for the most part. But that's pretty much all he's gonna really need from the looks of it. Like I could add some like silver for some weathering, but I don't know if I'm gonna go that far, at least as of for this video. But he does come with a light up gimmick, which I haven't put on yet. And I actually kept his back kind of loose just so I could show you guys. But when you want to turn on the LED, you're gonna have to pop off his back. So you can just kind of keep it loose if you want, if you're gonna be turning it on and off frequently. Otherwise, you can pop it in all the way. It's not super hard to get out though. But he comes with a little battery pack, which this thing takes LR41s or Energizer's 392. But once you get that all in, you just slide this part to the right. Bam! Got a yellow LED. It's not super bright though right now, but we'll see once we get it inserted, which I think it's supposed to be like that, so it lines up with everything. Looks like it. So, once you pop that on, yeah, that's not too bad actually. Like when you have the LED sitting on the outside, it doesn't really have that bright of a glow, but once you get it behind the reflective plastic, it's pretty spiffy. Let's turn this off real quick so you guys can see the light. Illuminates pretty well. So we're gonna shut that light off for now. And I can always come back to turn that back on. But you just, when you're done, you just insert the back plate back on top. Just make sure it lines up with everything. But you guys can see with this armor plating, it definitely has a lot more line detail than what we've gotten with the Robot Spears versions or even the Diamond Slug version as well. That's the one thing I'm actually really impressed so far with this figure. Once you get it all assembled, is there's just way more intricate details in the armor plating. Like, you can especially tell even on the shoulder. There's a crap ton more going on. Same with the bicep. Arms, about the same, but still a lot of extra lining that you generally wouldn't see. So, in terms of the armor plating, looks fantastic on this. The metallic kind of gives it the same feel as the Robot Spirits Gipsy Avenger, because that one kind of had a little bit of a metallic shine to it as well, if I could find it. Well, I guess not. Like, it's very minute for the Robot Spirits version. This one's definitely more of like a metallic royal blue. Well, this one's a little bit more of a standard. Also, you can kind of tell too that once you get the model kit put together, it's even smaller than the Robot Spirits version. Which is actually kind of nice because it scales a little bit better, I think, with the SH Monsters figures. But what I'm going to do is come back because since it's a model kit, we got to customize it a little bit just so we can get the full effect for the end. So I'm going to be doing the panel lining, and it also comes with slide stickers. And then I'll have to seal them up too afterwards so that the decals don't go sliding around. So this is going to be about a day process for me to get the rest of this stuff done. So I'll be back in like 3 seconds for this, but it'll probably be more like tomorrow morning to finish filming. Alright, so I'm back, and we finally have this guy fully assembled, fully painted, and all of his fancy decals on. So, as you guys can see, I did, focus, some panel linings going around each of pretty much any place that black would hold. So around the edges of the armor to give it a little bit of little added weathering, and also just makes the armor stand out. You can see on the sides here where I added the panel lining. Same with under here. I kind of left it a little bit smudged just to give it more of that kind of weathered effect. So you'll notice over here there's a little bit. Same with on the helmet. I did the same thing there. Tops of the shoulder pads. And pretty much any place that I could get black to stick is where I put it. Like you can even see on the knuckles here. Added some panel linings there as well. You can see on the sides of the legs. And the main reason you do this is just to really make the figure stand out and pop. I wanted it to not be quite as clean, just to make it look a little bit more weathered and like this guy's been through a little bit. So how I got this effect was using a... Technically, this is a sketch marker. You just put the paint over top of it, gets it in the lines. You can do the same with a Gundam marker. And then you just use a eraser to erase off the excess black. And you kind of just keep doing it until you get it the way you want it to. And this is pretty much the end result of about an hour and a half of scrubbing with an eraser and going over each little individual parts. Because you can even see up here, all this stuff. Underneath here too, I even did it as well. So once you get it fully done and everything's all painted up, you get the pinstripes on. As you can see, he's got some on the shoulders. You can see them on the arms, chest area here. The funny thing is, like, the head hadn't done. You can see some more here on the shoulder pads too, on the front sections. Calves, you get quite a bit of them, even on the inside. There's some pinstripes you got to put. Painting the butt ones were these ones on the back here, because you have to get it like flush against the gray here. So those ones are a pain in the butt. But you guys can see with a little bit added work, you could definitely make this guy freaking pop. One thing I do recommend is what I did for this is once you get all the decals on, you want to spray this with a clear lacquer over top of it. All this is going to do is just make sure that the decals, when you're coming into contact with your skin and the moisture from your skin, isn't going to lift off the decals. So you want to use... I used a matte finish, and it gave it a little bit of a nice shine to it. It makes it pop even better than what this metallic already originally did. I wouldn't recommend gloss, though, because then he'd kind of look wet. I guess if you wanted more like water-ish, like do like a water scene with him, then you probably want a gloss finish. But the matte seems like it did the best job for me. Real quick, I'll actually go grab the paint that I used. But this is a lacquer that I use. It's just a spray lacquer. It's the test stores. You can find this pretty much at any hobby shop. This is the clear coat version. You're going to want to use that over top just to make sure so when you're touching this, it's not going to start peeling. Which is the problem I had with this Koto Bikio one that I did. Where if my finger came in contact with it, the decal started sliding off. And then I did that, but one of my decals kind of just got ruined forever. Which was sad. Didn't really want that to happen to this one. Which sadly, doing this entire thing, I only lost one decal. Which I'm very proud of myself for this one. I think it's this one. There's supposed to be a little red stripe here in between there. It's missing. You wouldn't really be able to tell, but these little accessories are the ones I did the least amount of panel lining on. Because I could have probably did some in there, but since I already assembled it, I just didn't really worry about it. Actually, this one I don't really think I did any, to be honest. But because it kind of looks pretty nice as it is, and I wasn't really planning on using this accessory anyways. Because this one, if you do want to use this one when you're going to be posing them, you're going to want to make sure to glue this into here, because this one pops off real easy for the gravity sling. So, this is what I definitely recommend you. This is the only piece that you're really going to need to apply some glue. Most everything else on this guy seems to hold up pretty well. He also comes with his plasma cannon, which you can see some of the added little pinstriping that I did to this one as well. Did I actually do any weathering on this one too? I don't think I did. Nope, just a little bit. I mainly did them around the cufflinks and stuff like that, but I kind of let the fingers and everything else alone. Because, again, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to pose this one with him. Maybe, though. Because what I was thinking about posing it with was the blades here. Because this one, I did a lot of panel lining for the sword because I just kind of want to make it look a little bit more weathered. Underneath kind of went a little too crazy, I think. Still looks pretty good though. Like, I'm happy with it. And then I did a little bit of panel lining for the arm here as well. And then finally you have the hand here, which I did quite a bit on the top section to give it a little bit more of that weathered look to it. But it still turned out really nice too. And here's the stand, which I was talking about, is once I set that thing on, it was just like on forever. So it's slightly off center. I tried wetting it and sliding to see if I could get the slide back over, and it ain't having it. So still will work. Not too upset with it. It's just, again, the stickers of this thing was like very hit and miss for me. So just to give you guys a heads up, I still gotta spray this with the lacquer. Just kind of try to make this look a little bit more even. But outside of that, once you get the stand set together, it actually doesn't move. How you actually move this is you slide the part you want to move, and then you put it back in. And you get 3 little notches inside the thing. So you'll see there's 3 notches here. And that's how you kind of just line it up the way you want. So if you want a little bit of bend, you put that one in. And then you pull this guy out. And do the same thing with this if you want it to bend a little bit. So now I can kind of have it at a little bit of an angle if I need it to be. But lining that back up. How you actually hook Gipsy to the stand is there's this little plate under here, which I also weathered as well. You just pop this guy out. Maybe. Probably shouldn't be making these noises when I'm trying to pull things out of his butt area. Yeah. I think it's because of the lacquer. Kind of made it a little thicker. But you pull that one out, and then this can insert in. Maybe. There you go. So now you can have them in poses if you really want to. Personally, I kind of like the flying sitting pose. Works pretty well for me. But that's how you essentially get him on the stand. I don't think I'm going to actually pose him with the stand. I'm not certain yet, because with this size, I personally think he's probably the best looking one as of now to stand with my other kaijus. Because again, with the scaling, he's a little bit smaller than everybody. But how you swap out the arm parts is this just can just literally slide off. And you just have this little rectangular peg, and it'll slide into that little joint there. So for this side, you have the blade arm. You can just make sure the arm's straight. Then you just slide it in. And what's nice too is that pretty much everything comes off pretty easy, but it's pretty sturdy too. And you get a little bit of articulation there, and once you get it hooked on, it stays on pretty well, and you still get articulation-wise pretty much the same as what you get with the robot spirits. For his articulation, his head can look a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and go a little bit up and down. Arm can go up about that far, down about that far, can rotate all the way around. It's on a ball joint on the shoulder, so you get a lot of wiggle there as well, and a little bit of rotation here at the upper part of the bicep. Elbow, nice double joint, so you get a really nice bend there as well. Hand, I'll show you on this side, can rotate all the way around, a little bit forward and back. For his chest, can go back about that far, forwards about that far. Nice side to side. Really nice rotation there as well. For his legs, can go outwards about that far, inwards about that far, forward about that far, backwards about that far. A little bit of a rotation at the top part of the thigh. Knees can bend about that far, straighten about that far. Feet can go forward and back, and side to side, and a little bit of a pivot as well. And then just finally, just show you guys with the light on real quick. It looks pretty spiffy if I do say so myself. But real quick, if you guys let me know in the comment section below if you guys think the pinstriping turned out pretty good, or if I overkilled it, let me know down in the comment section. Or if you guys have any little tips and tricks you want to share yourself. And for quick comparisons, here we have the Bandai high grade model Gipsy Avenger metallic version compared next to some other Gipsy Avengers with the Diamond Select and the Robot Spirits versions. You can kind of see that each one you get kind of upticks on each other in terms of scaling, but in terms of the amount of detailing in the armor, kind of goes the other way around. And here is with some more Robot Spirits Pacific Rim Uprising figures with Obsidian Fury and Guardian Bravo. And here's some more Diamond Select Pacific Rim Uprising figures with Bracer Phoenix, keep on calling him Titan Redeemer, and Saber Athena. And here's some more random Pacific Rim figures with the Sophie Spirits Raijin and the Soul Shogoken Gipsy Danger. And here's some Mystery Monsters figures with the Shin Godzilla original release and GMK Godzilla. And here is some random NECA Pacific Rim figures with the Flying Otachi, who is super dusty right now, and Rubber Baby Otachi. So overall, with the Bandai high grade Gipsy Avenger DX set metallic version, I think this is a really awesome model kit. I think in terms of the mold, they did a fantastic job. And love the metallic coloring for him. I think it gives him a really awesome look. Like that it comes with the LED feature for his reactor core. Comes with a stand, which decal kind of frustrating, but still comes with a stand. And once you put some work into him, this guy is easily the best looking Gipsy Avenger that I've gotten so far. Thing is, you gotta put some work into him in order to get there. Which for the lining took me, I want to say about an hour and a half to line this entire guy. Then you gotta clear coat them. After that, decals, that was probably the longest thing. It took me about 2 hours to put all the decals on them. So to be honest, it was faster for me to assemble him than it was to make him look pretty. But once you put all the work into him, he's definitely a standout figure and looks great next to some of the other SH Monster Arts figures. For me, in terms of the scaling for the Gipsy Avengers, I feel like this is the best one to pick up if you're willing to spend a little extra time and effort into making him look nice. If you're just going to plan on buying this and leaving him just naked and just assembling him and sticking it on your shelf, you're probably better off just getting the Robot Spirits version because he's just a little bit taller, same amount of articulation, it's already assembled. You might as well go with that one. Or if you just want something that's nicely painted and just going to stand on your shelf, then probably the Diamond Select's the best way to go. So again, this Gipsy Avenger model kit is awesome. If you guys are really in the model kits and definitely like messing around with your figures and adding some little additional custom touches, then this is easily the best Gipsy Avenger to go with. And again, thanks to D Japan for making this video possible. And again, if you guys are interested in this figure, follow the link in the description below and order yours off of them today. But what do you guys think? Have you guys picked up this Gipsy Avenger model kit? What's your favorite Gipsy Avenger figure? Or is action figures just more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. Look closer pictures of this guy on our Facebook. You want to click the link in the description below. We also have a Patreon account with exclusive prints for the channel and also live stream movie reviews down in the description below. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting the like button, subscribe, become a ranger today. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Well played, sir. Well played. Hey guys, welcome to Super Unimportant Reviews. My name's Steve, and in this video we'll be going over the NECA's Pacific Rim Yega Gipsy Danger Hong Kong Brawl Edition. This has been dubbed by the fan base as Gipsy 2.0, and you may be asking yourself, why do we need another Gipsy Danger? We already have 2 of them, and that's not even including the 18-inch tall one, so this is technically Gipsy number 4. And then there's already been, spoiler alert, Gipsy number 5 is going to be coming out, which is the Anchorage edition, where he's all battle damage and has the cannon. And I think it's a cool idea what they're going with the Gipsy here, where they're kind of making each Gipsy kind of work with each of the kaijus. Like this one will be working with Otachi, which is coming out next year. You have the Anchorage one that's going to be working with battle damage Knifehead. The original one can kind of go with Otachi or regular Knifehead for all that matters. And the battle damage one can be kind of like Schooner's little best friend. And then with that, you could kind of have separate set pieces on your shelf and have all these little dioramas going on, so that's kind of cool. But I can understand that if some of you don't really need multiple Gipsy Dangers in your life and you're just looking for that one specific one to go really well with your collection. This one's already winning for me just because he has a boat in there, but we'll know more about it after we get him opened up. So for the packaging, it's pretty much your standard Pacific Rim fare we've been getting for a little while now with the clear open plastic packaging.
It's got a nice little display at the top here with his kaiju kill count at 10. So that's pretty sweet. On the bottom here just tells you more about Gipsy Danger with his what edition he is with the Hong Kong Brawl. Also he's super articulated, which we'll go over in a minute. And for the back of the packaging, you got a really nice image of the figure in the packaging with him gripping onto the boat, which is awesome. He's a Mark III Jaeger, and on the bottom here just tells you some of the other figures that are going to be released with Tacit Ronin, Anchorage Attack Gipsy Danger, and Romeo Blue, which you guys are already on pre-order. Well, that's pretty much it. Let's get him open up out of his plastic prison. First, we're going to go over his accessories, which he comes with these pair of clench fists, which look very nice. Got a lot of very nice details in here. And they're just the same metallic dark blue paint and a little bit of blacks in there that the body is too. So it's really cool. And then how you easily get these on here is all you got to do is you take the hand, you tug on a little bit till the hand pops out, take the matching fist and just cram it in there. Which on mine, it's really tight, but once you get it in there, it looks really cool. Looks like he's about ready to sock somebody in the face and maybe get him into his rocket pose, which I'll show you guys how easy that is to do in a little bit. Cough, cough. But pop the hand back off. Put this one back on, because we're going to need these hands for the next accessory we're going to go over, which is the boat, which is probably the biggest reason to actually pick up this figure. Love the details on it. Has this clear paint on here to kind of give it more of a wet look to it. Really love the damaged look here with the imprints for the hand, which is actually very useful because these little imprints right here is where the hand actually slots into, which I'll show you guys in a sec. And then some of the other details right up here for the top part of the freighter. The only thing that's a little bit odd is the majority of this is this black paint and just kind of flat looking. A little bit of gloss here and there, just kind of give it a little bit of wet look to it. But it's kind of odd that they went with a more gloss top for the top of these, because it's a little bit distracting when compared to pretty much everything else on this boat. But it still looks really nice, and overall I'm pretty happy with this. And how you get it into his hand is that for his right hand, you're going to take this part right here and rest his thumb into it. And then you just bring it around, and each of these little holes is for each of his fingers. And once you get it in there, he actually holds onto it very nice. It's just mine has a really loose ball joint here on his hand, so he kind of just flails around with because of the weight. And it will pop out, but it still stays in there pretty securely, from what I've noticed. And then for his lower hand, what you're going to want to do is, this is the part where his thumb goes into. So you just bring his hands around, tuck his thumb into there, and rest his hand in there. Then there you got him holding his boat, which I'll back up real quick just to show you guys a little bit better view. Alright, here he is holding his freighter, and it looks really nice. I really love this overall pose with him holding it. I kind of wish that you could get his hands to move out a little bit farther and get a little bit more range of motion. Because if you want him gripping of both hands, this is pretty much about as good as you're going to get it. You can get a little bit more inwards and outwards, but it's kind of hard to get a little more angled at it. But it does look really nice. It's a very nice accessory for him and very fitting. I kind of wish there was a little bit better way of having him drag the boat behind him than just kind of flipping his arm upside down. But other than that, you would just kind of let go of it easily. So, because it'd be cool to kind of have him drag in the building, bring it up to Itachi when that figure decides to come out. But it's still a really nice accessory for him, and I'm very glad that he comes with it. And then, to show you guys how to get his chain blade in, which they only give you one of these, but I really like the position that they got in, because the original set that we got was open for the battle damage version, which looks really nice, but it kind of looks like it's more meant to be kind of flailing around and loose and not actually being more of a weapon. While this is full-blown blade form, except for mine is a little bit bent and wavy, so it seems a little bit more appropriate to be using this if it was going to be shaped like that. Nothing some heat can't fix, but it still looks really nice. Like, I really love the paint job on it, and once I decide to get this thing flat, and it'll look really nice. So right here, there's a little slit here, and what you do is you just pretty much just insert the chain blade into it. And what's nice is it stays in there very securely, which was kind of a problem that I had with the Battle Damage Gipsy, where if you started moving or it touched anything, it would pop right out. So that's really nice that they made it a little bit larger and elongated to fit in there a little better. And then he has one over here on this hand too, just to show you guys real quick. There we go. So it gives you a little bit of options. It would have been nice to maybe have gotten 2 with it, but for that entire Hong Kong sequence, you only really see him with the 1. So it's very fitting for him, so I'm still happy that they gave us the 1 with it. And especially since we got the boat anyway, so what more do you need? So I'll do an early comparison just because it's the easiest way to show you what pretty much changed between this Gipsy Danger and the original ones that we got. Because these two are pretty much the exact same, except for they just got a little bit of a different paint colors. Because this one's just supposed to represent more battle damage look. While on him, you can see that he's slightly taller than the other Gypsies. And also has a lot more details in his body. And I'm just going to get this one out of the way real quick. The Gipsy 2.0 is definitely the more darker blue of the two. And it is a very clean looking figure, while this one was designed to look a little bit more scuffy. And you can also see on the body there's just a lot more molded details on it than what we got with the previous Gipsy. Same here with the abdomen region. It's got a little bit more details. And then for the arms here, it has a lot more paint on it than what we got originally. It's also not nearly as big on the original Gipsy. Like, his arm's freaking huge. Then for the back here, it's not a whole lot noticeable difference, other than it's just a little bit more paint actually on the original one than on the newer one. So that's a little bit of a bummer actually, but nothing too major. And then right here you can see for the bottom part of the legs that changed a little bit. And it has a lot more design right there. And for the lower part, actually this leg has definitely a lot more design on it than the original one. So that's pretty cool. A little bit more paint application on it. And then with the feet, nothing too much different going on here. You can just notice that the Gipsy 2.0 definitely has a lot larger nubs right here than the original one has. So his feet are a little bit larger in that regards. It's missing some paint here, while this Gipsy Danger and also the Battle Damage one had some paint there too. While this one's lacking a little bit of it. And for the upper part of the legs, there's definitely a little bit more going on here with the pistons up here at the legs. And a little bit more details going on here, especially like right here on this plate here. So if you decide to get Gipsy 2.0, he definitely has a lot more going on to him just aesthetically than what we got with the original Gypsies. Or I'll just go over some of the details with it. Really love the head sculpt on here, which is also a new addition. And one thing that is awesome in comparison to the original one is you can actually move the head. I'll just go over that articulation with you real quick. It's not so hard to get this thing going. Mine's a little bit stiff still, but he has promise at least. And I really love the body here, and especially another thing I should point out to you is the cores on here his is actually a very bright orange and yellows, while his is darker and kind of blended with everything else, and I really like how contrasting that one is. And the rest of the body details look really good on him. Really like the arms here. Has the 34, which is very accurate. Really wish they could have somehow crammed that little, the pinup girl somewhere around here, but oh well. And then, again, for the rest of the body, looks very good. Really love the paint job on here. It has a lot of dark blues, blacks, and a whole little bit of red accents here and there. Which really helped to make them pop and just very eye-catching. And the back here with his more skeletal spinal section. Looks really sweet. And overall, just in terms of detail, he is definitely far superior than what we got with the original Gipsy Danger. And in terms of articulation, again, the head can move, so that's already a bonus. He can look a little bit side to side. Just got to play with it a little bit to get it to move, but it's got definitely a lot more promise than the other Gipsy did. For shoulders, the shoulder pad here actually has a little bit of articulation, so it gives you a little bit of movement. And then his shoulders here can move forward, backwards, a little bit up and down. It's still hindered by the shoulder pad, but you get a little bit more play with it. And then for his elbows, you can move his elbow up about yay far, down about yay far. And one thing to point out too is it hasn't happened yet, but these little bicep parts pop off really easy because they're not actually glued in. So if you guys want to solve that problem, just super glue does wonders. And then he also has a ball joint here. And there it goes. Damn it. Found it. Alright, so for the arm here, it has a rotation right here, which it can go all the way around, but it takes a little bit of play. And then he also has a rotation here at the upper part of the bicep, but again, this starts sliding around real easy when you're messing around with that. And his hands are on a ball joint, so you got a nice rotation and a little bit of bend to it. His abdomen actually has a very nice crunch to it. A lot of movement to it, so that's really nice and kind of helps to deviate from the lack of waist articulation. And then right here for his legs, has a rotation right here, which they didn't have on the original. Can move forward about yay far, backwards about yay far. And then his knees actually have a double joint here, which is really nice. The only issue is on this leg for mine, I don't know if it's glued in because it looks like there's a little bit of wetness in there. But that joint will not move for me. His knee can bend in about that far. And just show you what I'm talking about, because they're supposed to move right here too. So you can get a lot of bend to it, where he's just kind of doing the schoolgirl jumper. He's like, yeah! And then for his feet, pretty much the exact same that we have with the original Gipsy, which I maybe would like to see a little bit more elongation here, just to give him a little bit of a pivot to it. But you get a rotation with his feet, and then he also has a bend up here at the front part of his toes. So over onto articulation, he's definitely an improvement there too, with a lot more range of motion. The one thing that I would have loved to have seen though, and I'll just gotta swap a couple of things real quick, is that he can't actually do the rocket fist, which is a little bit of a bummer, because like there's a scene with him and Leatherback where he's kind of looking at him and see the rockets come out of his elbow. He's like, punches him right in the face. And it would have been nice to have seen a little bit more articulation here, maybe elongate this a little bit more just so that it could bend in a little bit more. Actually, it's probably more of a shoulder problem too as well. But what kind of helps too is that if you don't actually glue this in, is you can slide this up and down a little bit more to get a little bit more articulation. So on a second note, this might not be the best thing to actually glue in, but if you really are not going to be playing with this guy and moving around as much, that is definitely an option I would probably look into. But if you want to play with this guy a lot, then you probably want to leave these things alone. So for some quick comparison, here's Hong Kong Gipsy compared next to NECA's Leatherback and Knifehead. And here he is with some of the other more articulated Jaegers with Cherno Alpha and Tacit Ronin. Pardon my ugly curtains, but here he is compared next to the 18-inch tall NECA Gipsy Danger. And here he is with Failhead. So overall, Hong Kong Gipsy Danger, I still really like this figure. I can totally understand if you guys feel the need that you don't need him in your collection because you already own the original Gipsy Danger, so why would you guys need this guy? And yes, he's not nearly as important as, say, the newer Knifehead is to pick up because the original Knifehead was eh. But I still think they did a great job at updating the articulation and the details on the guy and giving us some sweet accessories to go along with him. So if you guys are planning on picking up Otachi and really love Pacific Rim, I still think this guy is still a worthy addition to your collection. So what do you guys think? You guys excited about Pacific Rim 2? You guys excited about the Otachi figure coming out? Or is one Gipsy more than enough for your collection? Please let us know in the comments. We'll post our pictures on Facebook. You want to click the link description below. Please don't forget to share this video around. And if you'd like this and want to see more stuff like this, please give us a like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.